Hi, Jacob McGill. Thank you for joining me and being one of my guests on the Resilient Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate.
So, you're the founder and CEO of 80/20 Media Inc. for almost 10 years now. Tell us a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, we actually launched, I think it's close to 12 years ago, and had the kind of success that had us incorporate shortly after. It was also the kind of success that actually was a real challenge. Taking on a new client every month for the first 18 months was a little bit of pressure. I'm sure we'll get into that in today's conversation. Originally, we started out as done for you organic social media. Like, we're going to make you Gary Vee of your niche. Clients looked at us sideways when we said, don't meet with us, click this button and you'll be on camera on this thing called Zoom, because we were an early adopter of Zoom 14 years ago or 15 years ago when they launched. And, it was a great place to enter the market, and also came with a lot of its own problems. The biggest issue that we found was that the leads were just falling off the flat earth. Right? We were generating real connections and contacts through content for our clients. But there was that, like, hey, you have to respond to them, by the way. And so around 7 years ago, we got heavily involved in the tech stack to make sure that leads no longer get leaked inside of businesses. And that's been a big part of our evolution, to the point that we're now RevOps, we're B2B growth partners, and we literally grow businesses for a living. And we do that by solving all of the leaks, and every business is leaking money in leads, conversion, sales, onboarding, and fulfillment. So we're specialists in that.
I love that. And that's a story of how you've had to pivot and you realize what we thought we were going to be versus what we actually needed to be to solve a problem in the business market. They always warn you, don't fall in love with the product or the solution. Make sure you're listening to what does a customer need and want, and how you're able to help. Right. So I love that you already have realized the pivot. We're going to learn more about the success and the failures in a little bit, but I wanted to get to know more about your business up front. So I'm going to ask you 4 questions. This is the short answer section.
Yep.
Who is or was the first hire in your business?
I mean, technically the first hire was a partnership. I started the business I was the process guy and I had the technical guy, to make it really simple. And we had just the two of us as a partnership for probably the first 8 weeks or so. And then the very first, hire or third party was another friend.
Okay, so you went the friend route. I
Mhm.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's hard for people when they're solopreneur, self-employed, to then, like, what am I going to delegate? Who's that first critical hire? Who's going to complement or augment, right, what I'm doing? But yeah, I went the partner route first as well, I think. You're tech stack guy now, helping with RevOps and lead leaks. What is the best software tool that you are using today that you can't live without?
I mean, 7 years ago, we partnered with Go High Level. So it is
Okay.
the base of our tech stack. It's not the be all end all, but the ability to have a pipeline and a CRM, and then take that pipeline and customize it to the customer journey of our client. Like, that's what RevOps actually is. You care more about the customer journey than you do about anything else in the business, because customers are the lifeblood of the business. And so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what tool you have, but use it for that purpose, or a specific purpose anyway.
It's the backbone, right? Yeah, your CRM and your customer, whatever customer database is the
Mhm.
backbone of the business.
Yeah.
And what about your favorite AI tool? We're all trying, and there's so many options out there, even beyond generative AI. And I know you're a big AI guy. So what's your favorite AI tool?
Yeah, I've vetted over 600 AI tools in the last year. And so out of all of that, we've chosen 16 to bring into our service stack, right? Because each one is purpose built. So I know I'm giving you a little bit of an angular, or like a non-answer answer. It feels a little political almost, but the one that actually serves the purpose and solves the problem that you have is my favorite. I keep on telling people AI is like the bit that goes between the screwdriver and the screw, and so many people are trying to fit the like star thing into the square hole.
I love that image. That makes a lot of sense. You have this drill, but you can change the bit. I like it. Yeah. Start with the why, start with the problem. We preach the same thing. And every time I am on one of these calls and people give me a new AI tool, I write it down. But now I have too many tools to take a look
Exactly.
at and figure out what's the right one for my purpose of what I need it for. Right. And when you're hiring and you're looking to add to your team, how do you prefer to engage new resources and talent? Do you go full time, contractors, outsourced projects through vendors or partners, or fractional?
So you're getting actually a little bit of the AI answer here too. But inside of the B2B services, we do a lot of partnering with fractionals because they are advisors who often understand what's not working inside the client and company better than the client itself. As far as hiring for ourselves, we've had the ABC process since day one. And so the C is the, single project-based contractor, right? There's a start here, finish here thing. And our methodology has always been to hire three because you get about 60% of what you need, but you also figure out who the one out of those three people is that you work well with, they can deliver. We have a super simple hiring system of 9 points. You get 3 for quality, 3 for communication, and 3 for speed. So there's a potential grading there. But really what I've done now is I've built out 19 AI employees, and over half of them are for staff. I'm just like, hey, it's smarter than me. It knows more about your problem than I do. Please ask it.
I love that. That's the agentic AI and the role based AI, which is why I was like, I know you're into AI, which is the future. A lot of people are still in the generative AI space. But I also love that you're very systematic. You have a framework or a model for everything, right? Like even your hiring process of the hiring by threes and like the qualifications and the criteria. There's a lot of it's very intentional. I love that about the way that you are building your business, but also that translates to how you serve your customers.
Thank you.
So we're going to start with the easy question about success because everyone shares and talks about their success when we're on social media, which is the business that you started, right? And LinkedIn, we see all of the celebrations and accomplishments and achievements and awards, and we'll get to the underneath the iceberg, underneath the tip of the iceberg, all the hard work and challenges that got us there. But we'll start with the easy one. I know you've been an entrepreneur or a business owner now for about 30 years. What is your proudest achievement as a business owner, and how did it happen?
Yeah, honestly, that's still my first business. So I don't mean to dip into the challenges part, but I was airlifted from a car accident when I was 17 years old, direct to ICU, coma, multiple surgeries, like everything but the beard that they grow in the movies in the hospital bed, right? And so coming out of that and then spending pretty much the decade of my 20s studying clinical rehab and turning that into a business because I realized I couldn't log the hours I wanted or needed if it didn't become a career, really was probably the biggest success that I've ever had. And it set that foundation for me. And as I've, continued to age, because birthdays come every year, whether you like it or not, my quality of life is actually continuing to improve. And I'm seeing that kind of the opposite for a lot of my peers. So I think that's a really important thing because, generationally, we kind of all came and got influenced from that era where you're supposed to sacrifice all that stuff and sit behind a desk for 40 years, for 40 hours a week, and then retire and try and recover it.
Yeah. And your quote, or I remember from talking to you before, that business, the 100 years, but is about the quality of your life and living your best life now and not like waiting, right? Because
Yeah.
tomorrow's not guaranteed, right?
Yeah,
And
it's the distinction between lifespan and health span. So the question is, how long is your quality of life going to be? Because, hobbling around and watching daytime television for the last 20 years doesn't sound like fun.
right, just sitting in front of the TV with the news, but not being able to move your body or needing a lot of assistance. Yeah. And that's stuff that you need to do now, right? Like I'm in my 40s and, they're talking about, like the weightlifting and strength training and things that you're doing now is going to help you have the balance and the strong bones and not be fragile and breakable in your 70s and 80s. And sometimes we're sacrificing our health for our job,
Mhm.
like you said. So your proudest achievement then, to summarize, is taking a traumatic life or death, like threatening experience, and making that your business and like melting your passion and your in a way to figure that out to be a company and make money from that and employment.
Yeah.
Or what
And
would be the tie that together part?
yeah, I mean, I just am somebody who kind of lives in process and thinks about systems for a living. And I don't know if that came as a result of or just added on, but I was able to turn my clinic into a lab and continuously experiment with and improve my process. And that's what got me to nearly 100% success rate with the clients that I had, and like being a partner in canceling orthopedic surgeries and like doing the impossible based on
Yeah.
what I was told when I left the hospital. Like, assume your quality of life is going to be here.
Yeah. When people tell you that it's impossible, it's that challenge of like, I'll show you that I could do it despite your doubts, kind of thing, and having that belief and that confidence to just get there. And then having a positive impact on the other people, I think. So taking what you went through and making it a positive, right? Churning it into research and a mission to educate and help others.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of dipped a little into a failure, but we experienced more than one setback in our life and in our work and in our in our journey, right? We all know that being a business owner is very challenging, and it's not all peaks without valleys, right? We talked about mountain climbing earlier. So tell me about either a mistake or a hard lesson that you had to learn along your growth journey of owning a business.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with alignment. And, I've had I still have them. Super fortunate. I've got some brilliant mentors, right? People who are not just accomplished, but again, go back to that quality of life conversation. And there are two times during the trajectory of 80/20 media where, following guidance and support I was given, and say, this thing is going in this direction and it doesn't feel great. And it seems like a risk, but it's honestly the best decision I've ever made. Twice now, we've let all the clients go, shut the entire thing down, and reconfigured it. And it's leveled up every single time, right? And it's an analogy I was given a long time ago. He just kept on telling me, he's like, remember that in between Formula One races, they take the car and tear it right down to the engine block and rebuild it. Like, that's what performance looks like. And so, it feels scary or challenging to do, but I promise you, given the opportunity, it's worth it.
I love that. You're really good with the images too, because once you have something that's working in revenue and customers, it'd be really hard to be like, oh no, I need to scrap that, start over, and do it again. Like I know a lot of companies, we talk about pivoting or continuous improvement or iterations, right? But that's like keeping some revenue and customers coming in while you're changing this one feature or business line or product or service offering, but you're still having the money coming in as that safety net. But you're saying like in between races, you have to stop, undo and redo and rebuild, and that's where you get to the peak performance. That is extremely intimidating, I think, and
Yeah.
scary for a business owner.
Yeah. And it's scary
Yeah.
living inside of it. Like, I'm not going to pretend it was easy. It was hard, but it was worth it.
Yeah. I love it. Um, oh yeah, perfect. So what's next then? Talk to us about your future. What are you doing that's really cool? What's happening next?
So now that we're specialists in RevOps, the thing that I enjoy the most about it is how, as a growth partner, we get into the business and we're there for the next 3 to 5 years. And this has completely changed everything for myself, for my team, even for the like the fractionals that we love partnering with, all that sort of stuff. Because there's a big difference between having a goal and being on a mission, right? And I was in the scroll the other day admiring someone who she just posted, like, I started learning scrambling when I was a teenager, and then I just accomplished this 30 summits in 30 days thing. And, that's
Mm-hmm.
no small feat to climb 30 mountains in 30 days,
Right.
right? And you don't do that overnight, but that's a mission-based thing. And that's more what business is actually like. It's not just like hiking to the top of a summit once, taking the picture, coming back down and being like, I did it. You have to do it
Right.
again and again and again and again and again in all these different verticals to have something that's actually going to survive out there in the market.
Well, the repeatable business, right? It's not just one win or one deal or one customer. It's that showing that you can replicate and scale. Um, I love that. And it's not just 30 summits in 30
I
days.
know.
That's like climbing a new mountain every day.
I screenshotted the list. I'm gonna try it hopefully next summer. I mean, it's gonna take me the summer to do it, not 1 month, but yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And when you do mountain climb, no two trips are the same, right? I mean, like there's different elevation gains, you're scaling, there might be rock faces, I don't know, right? Weather, exactly, the change in elevation. Yeah, you can't control the weather when you're sleeping. I love I love that. So many tangents I could go on with that, but I love the mountain idea. The peaks and the valleys and the mountain, it's part of my little symbol for a resilient entrepreneur, and so that fits right in.
absolutely.
So we're going to go back to quick answer questions for the end. So, what is on the plan to grow your business the rest of this year?
Yeah, so I've brought in a couple new team members, and I'm really excited about one of them. My job is to, at this point, fill his calendar, give him a lot of opportunities to have more conversations. It's not really about the sales as much as the research and finding the fit. As you increase in volume, you take a huge risk, and that is serving more people instead of being better at selecting them. And so that's really what we're dialing in Q4 this year is, not just partners, but perfect partners. And I do mean like clients, the companies that we work with, but also some of these other professionals that we are in alliance with. Because when you install systems and operations, the structure starts to reveal the human holes. And we need a team of those experts to help support with that, because it's not a positive move to just show up, put in this structure and be like, well, you figure the rest out for yourself, right? That's not a good partnership. And so that's really where we're leaning into a lot right now.
Perfect partners. I like that. We talked previously, and when we first met, about um, the intentionality and the networking and like the reciprocation and like having a partner ecosystem, but like having the right partners. But I like perfect partners. What's your first step towards taking the goal towards perfect partners?
I mean, we're in it right now, but really I'm building out this roster of people that it's no different than that ABC stuff that I mentioned earlier for the hiring, but it's like, oh, we communicate really well with this person. Step one, right? Step two, here's a list of the things that they're good at, capable of, etc. And then at that point, it's a facilitation thing. Whether or not we're doing business with someone, it's like, hey, I think I have someone who might be able to solve this problem that you just said you have. Often, I don't have a good percentage of it, but probably around a third of the time, they need to solve that before they work with us anyway.
Yeah, it's a process, a repeatable process, right? And a framework of picking your partners. And then, do you see any obstacles in your way?
Well, yeah, obviously, like one of the biggest issues we have, and I'm getting more and more clarity on this, is as much as the goal to like grow business, to have more impact on the lives of the customers out of that business works in RevOps, the vision and clarity of the vision of the leadership is an obstacle that shows up all the time. And so that's one of the issues that we are working on a lot. It's like, how do we make sure that we're clear about that before transacting and moving forward? And so the biggest obstacle is starting to grow and getting excited about the growth and starting to ignore that stuff and going back out of alignment.
Yeah. Alignment and clarity. Very cool. And I always end with, how can I help?
Yeah, I mean, you are right now by having this conversation, but if you see people who are stuck or struggling, it's from a lack of systems, that they don't have processes, don't send them to me. Collaborate with us, right? That's actually how the best help gets done, because like I said, people like you who are already looking over the shoulder inside of that company can help us improve things faster and better. A lot of business owners, and it's not their fault, but they have kind of Stockholm syndrome with their business.
Yeah. There's blind spots, right? And it's hard to delegate, and it's hard when you're trying to grow to realize that like you're part of the
Problem.
obstacle in the way of the growth.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
When you're a founder in a business and the business just gets bigger than you can manage yourself, and you need to bring in trusted partners like fractionals or like what you're talking about, RevOps, health and growth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My mentor is a huge success story. And, the reason the company that he was like mentoring and the CEO, he was supporting that kind of stuff, went public at, 6.4 billion and all this stuff, is he actually realized he didn't love running the thing, and he stepped down and put a different CEO in place.
Yeah. I think that's a high level of intelligence that it takes from a founder to realize that they may not be the right person at the helm, or they may need to, that's the partner model, or hire complementary other executive leaders in the team that complement you.
And he went back to doing the work he loved inside of the company, and it flourished.
That you're great at, right? Do what your special strengths are.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being so open and honest, and sharing your stories about your journey as a resilient entrepreneur. Jacob, it's been fun having you as my guest, and I've always enjoyed our conversations and your almost scientific approach, very procedural and systematic approach to growing and scaling businesses. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now that you've been on my show, who do you recommend for me to interview next? What other business owner or entrepreneur do you think would be interesting to hear their story?
That is a fantastic question. I don't have anybody off the top of my head, but I promise I'm going to sit down and think about it and send you a list of at least 3 people. Yeah.
Yes, I love just hearing and sharing stories with other founders and business owners, and that's the goal of this show, right? Is sharing the stories of how we are all resilient entrepreneurs. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. This was fun. We'll see you soon. We'll talk soon.
Okay, appreciate you.